This is a story about the things we collect: stamps, coins, antiques. For Robert Berdella, a respected merchant in Kansas City, his collection was different. He collected people, and the things he did to them, in this very house, would rewrite the definition of human cruelty. Robert Andrew Berdella Jr. was born in 1949. To his neighbors, he was an intelligent but severely awkward boy, bullied for his thick glasses and his stutter. But at home, a darker reality festered.
I started collecting and dealing in ethnic folk art back in '71, and then in '78 I came over here to basically temporarily to clean out my basement. I had a basement sale to clean out my house, and then I came over here to clean out my basement. And just did very well and started bringing over some of the stuff that I was dealing in as far as the ethnic jewelry and folk art.
That rage began to find its shape. He would later claim he was raped by a male co-worker as a teenager. And then he saw a film that would become his blueprint. The Collector, about a man who kidnaps a woman and holds her captive in his basement. For Berdella, it wasn't a horror story. It was a manifesto. He built a perfect facade, the quirky shopkeeper, the community pillar. But in the shadows, he was practicing. He experimented with sedatives on animals. He was arrested for drug dealing. The curator was preparing for his greatest collection. Between 1984 and 1988, at least 6 young men, drifters, prostitutes, acquaintances Berdella deemed expendable, vanished from the streets of Kansas City. They all shared one thing in common. They had crossed paths with Bob Berdella. His method was chillingly consistent. He would lure them in, often with offers of drugs or a place to stay. Then, the offer of a drink laced with enough animal tranquilizer to drop a horse. September 12th, subject resisted. Administered 50 milligrams of Thorazine. Applied electrodes to genitals for a duration of 10 seconds. Subject lost consciousness that he didn't see them as human beings. They were subjects in his grand, horrific experiment. He documented all, hundreds of Polaroid photographs. He injected Drano into their throats to silence their screams. He poured bleach into their eyes to blind them. He administered electric shocks to every sensitive part of their bodies. And in a perverse effort to keep his specimens alive, he force-fed them antibiotics. When the torture finally proved too much and his victims died, his final act of ownership was to dismember their bodies in his bathtub, wrap the parts in plastic bags, and place them on the curb with the Tuesday trash. The press would later give him his name, the Kansas City Butcher.
Mr. Berdella, you're sitting here as a man who's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. You've confessed to murder of 6 young men in this city and crimes that horrified the city and much of the country. You've confessed to, in various degrees, felonious restraint, drugging people, sexually abusing them, torturing them, killing them, dismembering them.
On April 2, 1988, Berdella made his first and only mistake. His latest subject was a 22-year-old named Chris Bryson. For days, Bryson had endured the unendurable. But on this morning, Berdella had gotten sloppy. He left for work, leaving Bryson conscious and with a flicker of hope within reach. What happened next was a testament to the unbreakable human will to survive. Bryson, through sheer force of will, burned and tore through his restraints. Naked, wearing only the dog collar Berdella had fastened around his neck, he climbed out a second-story window and jumped to the ground.
Okay. The next day, he went ahead with the regular schedule. He did everything. Asked me if I had to go to the bathroom, and I said no. But while I was talking to him, he had some matches, because he always gave me a cigarette, right? Before he left. He smoked a cigarette, and he always took the matches away. And he was standing there, and he threw them down this time by the table. that I kept his attention talking to him why he didn't remember to pick the matches up again. You know, I don't know why, but that's what happened. I already knew I was gonna have to burn the ropes with the matches. So after I got them loose, I could have reached down to touch my feet but there was the bedpost was a metal bedpost, and I was so freaked out in my head that I thought he had booby trapped the metal. You know what I'm saying? I actually thought I was gonna get shocked or electrocuted if I would try to touch the metal. I said, that is why I burnt the ropes. And until I got that loose, it was just like a fast panic, man. Like, I didn't know shit about the window because the window was covered by a big picture. I didn't know if it was gonna open. I didn't know if he was in the downstairs. I didn't know how much time I had. I really didn't know how high I was up or anything. Or I surely would try to look for my clothes before I went out. You know, that's the fear. Once I knew that I had committed to untying the ropes, you know, I just knew it was all or nothing. And so the adrenaline building, man. I just got up, raised the window, and I was happy that it came all the way up. And I looked down. So all I remember seeing a dog dish right there below on the sidewalk. And I was thinking, damn, I'm gonna jump down there and get attacked by these dogs. So I crawl out and I'm hanging. I was gonna try to jump over to the fence. The next yard was, appeared to be about this far on the sidewalk. It was all divided. I was gonna jump over to the next, where the grass was. I was gonna try to get a little sway going and jump over there, but the ledge broke and I fell straight down. I hurt my leg a little bit, but that wasn't nothing. I dove over the fence, and I wasn't thinking about being naked or nothing. I just wanted to, I was out of there, so.
When police entered 4315 Charlotte Street, they found a house of horrors. The logs, the drugs, the electrical transformer, and then the photographs. Hundreds of them. A visual diary of hell. Facing the death penalty, Berdella pleaded guilty. In a stunning display of coldness, he offered a 720-page confession, a clinical breakdown of his atrocities, in exchange for a life sentence. He showed no remorse, only a detached fascination with his own actions. His collection was finally complete, but he was the one who was caged. On October 8th, 1992, Robert Berdella died of a heart attack in prison at the age of 43. There were no mourners.
There was a report in the Sunday Kansas City Star in December about the dangers you might face after you leave the Jackson County Correction Facility and are moved to another larger prison. How do you feel about reports like that? Do they make you anxious?
They do give me some reason for concern, but one of the reasons I'm concerned is that these were not just reports. These were digging out quotes from unnamed prosecutors implying that the inmates down there are waiting to get their hands on me. I am, at this point, am less concerned about the inmates acting on their own as opposed to the inmates or an inmate acting in response to maybe some directive or coercion from some police officers.
Do you think you're being set up, perhaps?
Well, I think the Star and Times have, since they haven't been able to get a court to put me to death, are now trying to get the inmates to do it for them.
The story of Robert Berdella is a stark ledger of human suffering, a reminder that the true face of evil often wears a familiar mask. It challenges our perception of the world immediately around us. If this journey into the darkest corners of this case has compelled you, if you believe in preserving these difficult stories to understand the nature of crime itself, then your engagement is vital. Please help this channel continue its work. Subscribe for more in-depth investigations. And if this narrative held your attention, let us know with a like. Your support ensures that these stories are told with the depth and respect they demand. We delve into the darkness so we might better understand the light. Thank you for watching and stay aware.